used to. This is not going to be easy to come from the back with this stellar field of cars. Here's Jackie Arute with the call for our start of the Lincoln Tech 80.
Row by row, coming to the restart zone, waiting for the green flag to be displayed by our official starter. And on the break, underway, no surprise, Ryan Preece takes the number 6 car to the point. Noah Corner holding on in second, but he's feeling the hot breath of several cars.
There's no question about it. It is Preece out in front. Plus or minus system, but look at Noah Corner. Then they are side by side, doubled up for that third position as car number 1, Patrick Emmerling, won the greatest race in the history of spring here at Stafford. He's looking to put car number 1 into position number 1.
You can see him there on the inside. Emmerling trying to get by that number 31 of Noah Corner. And so far, Corner is staving off any of the challenges that may be coming his way.
There's no doubt about it as they work their magic through the turn. Here comes Pastriak. Now all of a sudden, Bobby Santos the third. Michael Christopher. Look at Pastriak. Bull move to the inside. Off the turn. Here he comes. Bottom shot. And it is Pastriak up to second.
Pastriak now trying to take over the front position, but he's got a ways to go to get by Ryan Preece.
Oh, trouble now. He does, and he made it look so easy as Pastriak is the leader of the pack. Meanwhile, look at the bid for the third position, and all of a sudden it's Michael Christopher moving in. Quickest lap turn is the last one. Chris Pastriak is there. Meanwhile, further back in the field.
And here comes Christopher.
And what a good move there, as now Christopher has now moved into the catbird seat.
Tommy Baldwin, a former Cup competitor, former modified owner, now moving to the modified tour types with that familiar 7 New York as they re-rack this field with Pastriak on the point, but it is not yet settled. Who'll hold on to second? Give it to Michael Christopher Jr.
And while that gentleman going on, Woody Pitkat has worked his way into the top 6. Remember, Woody Pitkat was a podium finisher the last time these cars were here at Stafford for an open show. Back off turn number 4, back down to the line. It is still Chris Pastriak. Michael Christopher still in second. Moeller looking to be a 2-time winner here tonight. Little further back in the field, little shuffle to the inside. Todd Owen is starting to come to life.
Question that remains to be answered. This has been a torrid pace thus far in the first 8 laps. The lap speeds at over 93 miles an hour. Is that too fast? Is that maybe why someone like Ryan Preece has decided to back it down just a little bit? We do have to take into consideration tire management, especially if this thing goes without a caution.
It could be the case too. We are 9 laps now complete. Things are starting to settle in, and meanwhile, all of a sudden in the mid-pack of cars, we see some changes taking place as Santos's machine, now all of a sudden Chase Dowling got out of shape coming off turn number 4, and that cost him dearly. Back up front, still good battle going on as it still continues to be a great battle among the top 6 positions here.
Been quite some time since young Chris Pastriak has led an event here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, but he has that familiar color scheme out to a 3-car length advantage over another fellow young driver, Andrew Moeller, who has already been to victory lane tonight. He runs in second, and another driver, number 6, making his return to Stafford Motor Speedway. Woody Pitkat is in that 3rd spot, and Christopher has faded back to 3rd. Shouldn't say fade. I think he is in tire conservation mode, as is Ryan Preece back there in the 6th spot.
Same thing can be said. Ronnie Williams is following Santos up the hill. He is now Santos in the 8th position. Williams is in the 9th spot, and Dana DiMatteo rounds out the top 10. Single file is the story, except when you move a little further back in the field. But it is still a good battle. Now Todd Owen is starting to put some pressure on Michael Jervis and starting to thread the needle through traffic as well.
And watching Chase Dowling as he's still trying to climb up that ladder and break into the top 15. He is dispatching on average 1 car a lap, Ben. So pretty soon he will insert himself into the conversation.
He will. He's moving up on Eric Goodale currently as we speak. Meanwhile, back to the 4th position. That is currently held down by Michael Christopher. Noah Corner is still right there with him. And nobody's giving up in that battle. Ryan Preece has dropped back to the 6th position after starting at the point in this one. And now Dowling has went around Goodale further back. And Kopczyk sucked it in at a ton. And Jackie, I think you called it best a few laps ago on who are the cars that are starting to come to life with 17 of the 80 laps now complete.
Field starting to, lengthen out side by side, has vanished from the top 20 positions. Instead now it's just try to find a place and ride. But if you're further back, 15th on back, there is no time to ride. You've got to try and grab spots when you can. And that is the case of Chase Dowling going to the inside, trying to move up and grabs another spot. He is successful coming out of turn number 4.
No question about it. Still the fastest car on the racetrack is Chris Pastriak. Moeller still running in his tire tracks. And now, look out, here comes Corner. Corner dives down underneath Michael Christopher. Good bid for the 4th spot. Christopher in the outside. Corner on the inside.
And that black car watching all the action now, trying to take a peek on the inside of Christopher, is Ryan Preece, who started from the pin, but has just kind of settled in that 5th, 6th position. And he is just, is he riding or does he have an issue?
It's
that
hard to tell.
To
yes, hard to tell in that situation there. One of the things that Preece had said the last time he was here for an 80 is he used up his car too early in the event. Well, that might be the strategy that's being put to the test, but just as I say that, he's going to prove me wrong because he moves to the inside of Michael Christopher and now moves into the top 5.
So that strikes me as that what he wants to do is maintain a certain pace. Meanwhile, Chase Dowling and his buddy Stephen Kopczyk have broken into the top 15. They're now being posted in the 12th and 13th position. Next up in their sights is Dana Di Matteo, and Dowling already trying to dispatch him very quickly down the backstretch. Di Matteo tries to hold off in the 76, that ever fast closing number 9 of former winner here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, 2-time winner here in these modified tour type opens. Chase Dowling, who's coming from shotgun on the field.
He certainly is, but of course that car loosened up on the last circuit by coming off turn number 4. He's trying to keep the car pinched down, but just in front of him is the number 76 machine, and Dana Di Matteo. He's had some good runs here at Stafford this year as well. So once again, out in front, Pastriak in a zone of his own at the front of the field. Moeller in 2nd, and then Woody Pitcat in the comfort zone in the 3rd position.
And the separation, the gap between those 3 cars is pretty much stabilized at this point in the race with 54 laps to go. And the cars that seem to be running incredibly quick, trying to dispatch with as many as possible, are right there in the center of your screen, and that's no surprise.
No, it is not any surprise at all. Ronnie Williams setting in the 9th spot, Santos in the 8th position. 27 of the 80 now complete. Good move down to the inside of Noah Corner is the number 1 of Patrick Emmerling. And while that's happening, Dowling tries to get down underneath Di Matteo, but when he does, it slows the momentum of the 9 car off, and he can't make the move.
Di Matteo is running a great race there, holding off 2 of the hot shoes here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. So carry it in as deep as you can, and that's exactly what Dowling did, and he now enters the top 10 in this race.
He certainly does. Let's check the field. Pastriak the leader, Moeller is 2nd, Pitcat is 3rd, Preece up to 4, Noah Corner in 5, and Michael Christopher in the 6th spot. 7th is Emmerling, 8th is Santos, 9th is Williams, and 10th is Dowling.
Gap has shrunk a little bit between 2nd and 1st as Matt Galco looks as if he's going to be going behind the wall. But the gap between Moeller and Pastriak, Moeller is closing ever so slightly, almost imperceptibly, but he's knocking off about maybe 2/10 each and every lap. And now we are down to just a separation, a gap of less than 48 100ths of a second.
We sure are. There's 31 laps up on the board in this event, and there have been no cautions so far. But we look back, and all of a sudden, Woody Pitcat's strong run in the 3rd position. Ryan Preece was closing up the gap ever so slightly, and then all of a sudden, it all disappeared. Meanwhile, little further back, bottom of the top 10, Santos now hunting down Patrick Emmerling. Then it's Williams, then it's Dowling, and then it's Kopsik.
And the battle up front, it's shrinking, folks. Working some lap traffic now. Chris Pastriak still has the point, still has the advantage, but Andrew Moeller is starting to close as quickly as he can, and he's narrowed it down to just 5 car lengths now as they go beneath the scoreboard and into turn number 3. And Ben, now is the time when these tires will begin to go away.
Absolutely is the case. We are approaching the halfway point very quick here and very soon. And it still remains Pastriak. Quickest car on the racetrack, 19.176. Here comes Santos, down underneath Patrick Emmerling. That is the bid for the 7th and 8th position there.
Santos is another one of those closers. Knows how to take care of his equipment. We've seen him win on big tracks. We've seen him win the Little 500. We've seen him command races in the United States Auto Club. Former Whelen Modified Tour champion, in fact. And right now, it's time to decide, do you go and use up your stuff and hope for a late race caution, or do you continue to conserve?
And that is exactly what Santos and his crew is picking out in their strategy. Here comes Santos. He dives down low, picks up the spot, and Santos has now moved up into the 7th position,
spot,
forcing Emmerling back 1.
Let's check in with the leaders one more time. Differential there has stabilized a bit as they work through some race traffic. And it is now, well, it is a 2-car breakaway in this Lincoln Tech 80-lapper as we get the cross flags.
Yep, halfway
40
down.
40 to go. My, oh my, when does the caution come?
Well, if it
And
does
will
come,
it?
and will it come, I think is the key ingredient here, because it's still Pastriak over Moeller. Pitcat still in the zone of his own in the 3rd position. Then it's Preece and Michael Christopher to round out the top 5.
And on the screen, you see 3 cars that do have a sense of urgency as they're trying to carve their way to the front. That's Ronnie Williams. That is Chase Dowling and Stephen Kopsik, still working some heavy race traffic. And to be quite honest with you, Ben, with the way the field is stretched out here, you have to go into tire conservation.
You do, absolutely.
Pretty quick.
Absolutely.
Because the odds of a caution now coming, there isn't enough close quarter racing for it to actually have a high probability of happening.
Correct. And now we look back up front, and all of a sudden, we see that the 6 of Preece is closing in on the red and white 6 car of Woody Pitcat. It's still good battle there. Patrick Emmerling is in a battle in the 8th position with Ronnie Williams, Dowling, and Kopsik.
Here goes Santos to the inside of corner.
And just as you said, all of a sudden Santos senses that it's closing time, and he's got to get to the front if he's going to be a factor. No conservation now in this event.
And this race and the strategies could spin on a dime with a display of a caution. But in the meantime, the strategy, the only one that is operational, if you are out front, do you go 110% if you're Chris Pastriak and Andrew Moeller? Or do you subscribe to the theory that most likely is being adhered to by the likes of Ryan Preece and Michael Christopher, who have two pretty good crew chiefs to dictate the pace?
Yes, they do.
It may work and it may not work, but this is what we're going to be following for the next 34 laps till the checker falls.
There's no question. It's 47 of the 80 down. It's been a long time since the Pastriak family has had success and a win here at Stafford. Andrew Moeller already won once tonight. He is a driver that has been in 2 divisions already and continues to set a blistering pace. In second, Pitcat still in the 3rd spot. Preece is still in 4th. And when they come back to the line the next time by, 50 of the 80 are complete in this Lincoln Tech event.
Which means we are now reducing this 80-lap green flag only event down to a typical short track Saturday night 30-lap feature. There is Chris Pastriak. He has lengthened his lead over that man, the 35, Andrew Moeller. And Woody Pitcat, well, he's just riding along, not being able to influence in any way the gap.
Caution.
And the caution comes out.
And the caution flag comes out. And let's see who it's for. With 50 laps up on the board, it is the...
But, and is that a surprise?
Helping the crew. We're used to doing this, so we think we'll be pretty good.
Moeller, scary moment there.
Yep.
He finds himself in second. Woody Pitcat, Ryan Preece, Michael Christopher. You go down the list. They've shuffled up front a little bit, but we're about to go back to racing action with Christopher flanking Chris Pastriak on the outside of that front row. And then it is Woody Pitcat in that enviable 3rd position as we get ready for the green.
Off turn number 4. There is the green, and Pastriak looks as racy as he did before the caution at the front of the field. They are all over, literally 3 wide off the turn as Chase Dowling moves down underneath Eric Goodale in a side-by-side battle. But look at that battle up on the wheel in the outside. Here comes the 44 of Santos.
Bobby Santos, the 3rd, working the high side of Woody Pitcat, his brother-in-law of all things. And he takes over that spot, but not for long as the Woodman comes back on the inside. Meanwhile, Pastriak continues to lead this event and running in second and starting to close. Not able to gap the way he did before because Michael Christopher has that Tommy Baldwin 7 New York in that 2nd spot as they come out of turn number 4 and leave us with 28 laps to go.
While that's been happening, Chase Dowling just dipped down low. Remember, he came from the parking lot in this event. He moves to the inside of Woody Pitcat. Dowling is up to the top 4. Is he done yet? Santos is just in front of him. 52 of 80 now complete.
You must be impressed with the performance of Chris Pastriak. As you said, Ben, it has been a very long time. To my recollection, this is the most laps that Chris Pastriak has ever led at Stafford Motor Speedway.
Absolutely.
In his career. Now, look what's happening in that 2nd spot. Michael Christopher Jr. going to have to hold off a dual attack.
Yes, it
coming
is.
from Bobby Santos III and from Chase Dowling, who has already tasted victory here in tour-type main events this past summer twice. Can he make it a hat trick tonight?
Well, it is a double shot barrel there as those two, and then behind them, it is Woody Pitcat, Patrick Emeling, and Marcello Rafano. We haven't talked about Marcello at all, but he is now surfaced among the top 7. Owen is in 8th, Paulus is in 9th, and Eric Goodale is setting in the 10th spot. Back up front, Michael Christopher is all over Pastriak. Last circuit by, Christopher was a 19.189. The leader was a 19.320.
All right, let's see if Christopher Jr. with far more knowledge, that insider's knowledge from years of running the SKs here, can maybe teach a few to Chris Pastriak. Christopher, with the help of his dad, with the help of his late Uncle Teddy, and of course with all of the races, the big races that he's already won. He knows this place intimately. How can he capitalize on it? There is no margin for error for young Chris Pastriak, because waiting to pounce is Michael Christopher Jr. Will it be this time down the backstretch? He does go to the inside,
but
he
it's short.
Can't carry it in deep
no,
enough.
He shuts the door, Pastriak does, but now Christopher sees the opening there again. Michael Christopher, bottom shot, going, gone. Brand new leader emerges, Michael Christopher, but Pastriak isn't done yet. Santos, Dowling, not there, not in striking distance. 59 of 80 now complete.
And it is a two-car tango, could become a four-car race, and it does instantaneously, as Santos and Chase Dowling have now narrowed that gap between Chris Pastriak and themselves. But Michael Christopher Jr. has put the Tommy Baldwin 7 New York out front as he crossed the stripe again. And they are closing. Third and fourth, they are closing on your lead duo.
61 of 80 laps complete. Pastriak came in for a pit stop that might have surprised some. Did the tire pay off? Did it help? Well, it definitely worked to the advantage of Michael Christopher as he continues to dominate at the front of the field.
And meanwhile, he started 24th, Ben. He has passed more cars than any other driver in this field. That's the number 9 that holds down that 4th position and may be mounting a challenge to Bobby Santos's 3rd place running spot.
There's no question. It seems to be with 63 up on the board. Now all of a sudden, Todd Owen is trying to work over Patrick Emmerling for the 7th position. Owen takes it in deep, and he picks up that spot.
Coming down to the final few laps of this event, 16 laps to go. Now it's just a case for Michael Christopher. Don't make a mistake. Roll into the corners. Roll out of the corners. Take away the line from Chris Pastriak. Chris Pastriak refuses to go quietly into the night. He holds on to that 2nd spot, and we are about to heat things up again as Bobby Santos now all of a sudden has been hit with a jolt of urgency in that 3rd spot and sees that he's got to make the move because laps are running down.
They certainly are. 65 flashes up on the board. Pastriak's 2nd place run is starting to diminish ever so slightly as Santos is trying to close up the gap. And it still remains Michael Christopher in command. Out in front. Meanwhile,
Pitcat and Rufano are having a little bit
yes,
of a
they
set
are.
too.
Good run there. Marcello Rufano.
And fading, somewhat surprising to be quite honest with you, has been the number 6 car for Ryan Preece. He is in 7th. He's been back and forth with Todd Owen, but this is certainly not what Preece anticipated, especially after passing as many cars, getting the passing points, and leading this show from the pin at the drop of the green flag.
Here comes Marcello Rufano. Bold move to the inside of Woody Pitcat. They swing to the left, spring to the right, and Marcello Rufano has picked up yet another position. That's position number 5.
11 laps to go. About to get the outstretched double hands to say there are 10 circuits left, as there we have it from the starter stand. Will it be a big yellow? We've got a spin. Yellow is out.
It is Earl Paulus, car number 8, that goes spinning.
And that looks as if it's Di Matteo who spun to avoid. And that brings out the caution with 10 laps to go.
And you know, if you thought it was over with, well, you were wrong. Because let's see what's going to happen now. With 10 laps to go, this is going to change the entire complexion of this event.
Be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see, Ben, if anybody elects to come to pit
Yes,
road.
yes.
I would say if you're not in the top 10.
Woody Pitkat.
And Woody Pitkat does.
But he came in under red. The red was, the green was not open for pit road. So this might be a problem for Woody Pitkat's car.
Well, it may be a problem even more so as they're peeling the hood off on the car. Let's see if we can get a report from pit road. Anybody got an update down there on Woody Pitkat's?
Yeah, Jack, the hood is off the number 6 car. They are working, it looks like, on the ignition of car number 6, Woody Pitkat.
Oh, such an unfortunate
It is.
roll
They
of
have
dice there. He had done so well
Yes, he had.
so far. But let me go back now because this is a re-rack. 10 laps, and right now you're going to go back to double file restarts. I think this is an advantage to someone like Chase Dowling.
Yep.
But I also think that it's a disadvantage to someone like Chris Pastriak.
I agree.
Who has been up front for so long. He will now find himself on the outside, and the one that can actually capitalize on it is Bobby Santos. More reports from pit road. Let's go there now.
Tom Baldwin, the crew chief and car owner for Mike Christopher. What
A wall, so Woody
said about the Preece tire situation.
Switch lefts.
Switch lefts. We haven't heard of that.
That's news to me, but it all is going to be worked out in the next 11 laps. Pace car makes the hard left-hand turn on the pit road. Who will get the advantage at the drop of the green? Will it be Michael Christopher Jr. on the outside, or can Pastriak come up through the gearbox? Look at Bobby Santos III. He strikes at Pastriak's second place position. Christopher, the point of the spear, but here comes Bobby Santos III.
Meanwhile, Marcello Rufano comes to life. He moves to the inside of Dowling. Here is Santos up to second. Dowling gets shuffled to the outside. Here comes Ryan Preece, now making his presence known. Car number 6 is coming to the front of the class. Here comes Todd Owen. We haven't talked about Owen all night long.
And meanwhile, that battle for second gets heated up even more. It is Christopher Jr. out front, but going to the inside of Bobby Santos III, Marcello Rufano. Remember when he won one of these opens?
He sure
This
did.
is the same playbook right now. Up on the wheel with just a handful of laps to go. But this time, Bobby Santos says, not so fast, my friend. They are side by side and at the line.
There's no question about it. Preece is right there. But he is handling to hold on. Here comes Marcello Rufano. Tap to the back bumper again. Santos setting back in that 4th position.
Got shuffled right back to 4th, yeah.
And all of a sudden, here they come, 73 with 7 laps remaining.
And we'll keep abreast of the gap between Christopher Jr. and Ryan Preece. Gap last time was 9/10 of a second. That's an awful lot of distance. You heard Tommy Baldwin say they had saved some, but they weren't sure what Preece might still have in his bag of tricks. Across the gap, this time, it's been narrowed, but not by much.
5 circuits remaining when they come back to the line. And just as Tommy Baldwin Jr. had called it, it becomes a reality. Michael Christopher in command, getting the high 5. Second spot is still Preece. Third, great run for Marcello Rufano. Then in the 4th position, it is still Bobby Santos, Pastriak for 5. And then Dowling has drifted back to the 6th spot with Todd Owen all over him.
They may call Kyle Larson young money, but if Michael Christopher, with Tommy Baldwin's assistance, can take this one. Oh, spin down the front straightaway.
Oh, we've got several cars involved.
All over the place.
Joey Cipriano, the number 25, the 55 of Bloxham is involved. David Etheridge in the 34. And you know, they say that cautions breed cautions.
Well, that was a classic display if people knew that it was time to giddy up.
Yes.
Himself into the
Caparacco.
On rim ride.
as we get ready for action.
Here we come. Green and they're racing, and a tussle at the point.
Look at Preece holding on, rim riding on the high side. Michael Christopher trying to roll smoothly down the back straightaway. They are too close to call. They are hub to hub. Christopher gets the advantage, but here comes Ryan Preece battling back on the outside. this one ain't over yet.
It is definitely not over with yet. They're still side by side and wheel to wheel. Nobody's giving an inch. Now the crossover. Here comes Preece again to the inside. Here comes Marcello Rufano down underneath Santos. Caution comes out again. And it is the 25 to 31.
And he
Yes.
pavement
Yeah.
racing, but seeing how they were running mostly shortly. Choosing the inside, as expected, was Ryan Preece. That leaves Michael Christopher to the outside with Bobby Santos on the inside, Marcello Rufano on the outside. We are about to settle this one as we come to the stripe. The green flag is out. And on the break, there goes Ryan Preece on the point, leading. But here comes Michael Christopher using that outside
comes
line.
Santos.
And here comes Santos.
And while Santos is going, Rufano's got plenty of giddy up in the outside lane. Twirling twos are in the air. They come rumbling back off turn number 4. This time, Santos's car gets a little bit evil with a caffeine twitch. He all of a sudden is forced to back out of it. Todd Owen comes back up and works his magic on the outside of Dowling. Back to the front. Good racing. Leader is still Preece. White flag is out. 1 lap to go.
For Ryan Preece, who has never forgotten his roots. Maybe he isn't having the best of seasons in the NASCAR Cup Series, but he comes back home when he can to remind himself of what it takes to win. And he shall do that tonight.
He will.
Wyden Hampson. Here comes the winner of the Lincoln Tech 80, and it is Ryan Preece.
Michael Christopher to finish in second. Great run for Marcello Rufano for third. Bobby Santos, the third, will finish in fourth. Todd Owen for 5. Chase Dowling for